as I've been saying all along the last few weeks, there's a lot going on this summer. And I'm trying in each of these updates to just pare down to a couple of things that are of the most urgency. And the news this week is after last week's court hearing, we had the final green light to move ahead with our Washington State Voter ID Initiative, IL 26-126. And we have now signature petition forms for the initiative. And they are circulating this week, today, the next few days, all around the state. I encourage everyone involved in the WAGOP and really just good, moderate to conservative politics everywhere in the state to get a couple of these signature petitions and start collecting signatures for the initiative that will require proof of citizenship when people register to vote in Washington. Now, there's been a great deal of interest in this initiative already, and we just got the final court clearance a few days ago. The media has been particularly interested in the initiative and not very friendly. The Seattle Times wrote a horrible editorial that made a bunch of false statements about the initiative, saying that it would get rid of vote by mail, which is false, saying it would change how elections are run in Washington, which is false. The initiative just does one thing. It just requires proof of citizenship when people register to vote in Washington. You need to be a citizen and a legal voter in order to register. And the idea that proving that with some documentation is somehow a bad thing is really a left-wing talking point. It is not good public policy, it's political partisanship. And the latest media outlet to jump on the partisan bandwagon was the Columbian. It's a lesser-known newspaper. It's out of Clark County in the Vancouver, Washington area. And its editorial board has a long-standing liberal, progressive bias. They did another editorial there, which made a bunch of outlandish statements about the initiative, saying essentially that it's done in bad faith to discourage people from voting. That's false. Requiring people to show with some documentation that they are legal voters and citizens in this state when they register to vote is not done in bad faith, it's done in good faith to make our elections in Washington State more secure and more trustworthy. We have a challenge in Washington State. Our voter participation is declining in the last several election cycles, I believe in part because people don't trust our election system. This is a good step, a good reform for restoring people's trust in elections. And the media, especially the legacy mainstream media, will continue, I believe, to oppose this, not because of anything wrong in public policy with the initiative, but because they perceive it as a threat to the one-party dominance of Washington politics that we've all been suffering for nearly 40 years. IL 26-126 is a good reform and will make our elections more secure. It will assure due diligence in those who register to vote, and it will restore the public trust and lift public trust in Washington elections. The second point I want to bring up and discuss this week is there's been a lot of news about this year's special legislative elections, and really all of this year's elections, primarily local elections, so your city councils, some mayors, and a lot of school boards. We pay close attention to school board races here at the WAGOP. But the real focus lately has been on a couple of the special elections to the state legislature. And this is important and timely right now because this week, primary ballots for the 2025 elections are out in the mail. You may have gotten yours already, or you may get it in the next day or two. Primary ballots are out this week, and it's important that we see good voter turnout around the state in this primary election, and it is just the primary. The general is coming up in November, of course, but there'll be particular attention paid to a couple of those special legislative elections. Normally in an odd numbered year, like 2025, you don't get legislative elections. Those happen in even numbered years. But because of some changes and some people leaving the legislature in Olympia, there are a couple of specials. And the media has been paying attention to two in particular. The state senate election, the special election in the 26th legislative district. That's kind of the Gig Harbor, Port Orchard area, so eastern Pierce County and a little bit of the southern part of Kitsap County, as well as another state senate special election happening in the 5th legislative district. That's the suburbs of King County to the east of Seattle, towns like Issaquah and Enumclaw. The 5th and the 26th are going to be closely watched special elections. And it's important, if you live in either the 5th or the 26th, that you make sure to vote that primary ballot that you're getting, either got in the last few days or going to get in the next few days. Get that ballot filled out. In the 26th, we like the candidate Michelle Collier. In the 5th, we like the candidate Chad Magadez. Fill out those primary ballots and get them in. The primaries are going to be the first real test of our ability to move the state Senate seats in those two districts from Democrat to Republican. And it's going to be a good test of how the Republican candidates, Collier in the 26th, Magadez in the 5th, are faring, how they're doing with their campaigns. They've been working hard. The state party's been supporting them with direct financial support, as well as some mail and helping with their campaign marketing efforts. But we won't know really how things look until we see the results of this August primary. So make sure to vote your primary ballot. Now, if you don't live in the 5th or the 26th districts, there's still a lot going on. The state party is committed to supporting conservative local candidates, especially school board candidates around the state. We are developing, as we did 2 years ago in 2023, a list of school board races that the state party is supporting. We're going to help those candidates get elected onto their school boards. And that's going to be a bigger project this year than it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we identified 36 school board races. This year, we're going to identify about 80, maybe a few more. So we're scaling up our support of school board races around the state because we believe that defending local control of our public schools is essential to restoring better performance in our public schools. As you know, the performance metrics for public schools in Washington have plummeted. And we believe that one of the keys, anyway, to repairing all that damage is to restore local control with locally elected school boards. So that's the state of play right now. Normally, the month of July is a slow one politically in our state, but not this year. This summer, we are fully active and engaged in doing the things, whether it's at the school board level or the state senate level, that will fix what's broken in Washington. And there is so much to fix. That's it for this week. I'll talk to you again next week, but until then, stay strong.